got to make those ping pong balls. That'd be some good stuff to have. I tell you.
Yeah, we just go to Funnel Hacking Live with like a racket.
Just start paddling them at people, and have like the business card on the back.
Amazing. I love it. Beautiful.
There'd be so many of those in the trash can. Oh my goodness.
So many.
Yeah. But welcome everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Live. We are here. Lefty and myself, the bearded guys, are taking over tonight. So we still got representatives from Toronto and from the Americas.
Yeah. Hell
We're an
yeah.
international show, baby. So today we are talking about something kind of different. So a little bit of a skew off of what we usually cover. We usually kind of get tactical, get into the weeds a little bit. But recently, Lefty had the honor to be a part of a big event, and he had some takeaways that he'd like to share with you guys that you could possibly use in your own content to help you as well. And of course, the big topic of the year so far has been, Lefty,
ChatGPT.
Yeah, the chat. Yeah, I mean, everyone's chatting about ChatGPT. So it's all over the place. Everyone's talking about it. It was at the same. I went to Social Media Marketing World. It was the same thing there, to where it is just everything everyone's talking about because it's kind of taken over. So, Lefty, in the vein of getting attention to your mission, message, movement in an ever noisy marketplace, what were your takeaways, good sir, from Adworld, which is a massive event, by the way? If you guys haven't gotten the chance to go, definitely check it out. It's some big names, right?
Oh yeah. It's online, which is fantastic. So you
completely. There's no in person.
Completely online. There's no.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's you get like a handful of panelists that you get to watch within 2 days. Typically, you can get all the other perks and all the fun stuff if you really choose to. I typically just get like those general admission tickets. Just let me put my foot through the door. Gives me 3 weeks of replay access, which is more than enough for me, because the reality is, if they're giving you like about 20 panelists, maybe 8 of them per day you actually care about that's relevant to your business, right? So even if you don't get the chance to watch all 8, and you have to rewatch 2 or 3 per day, I mean, is it really going to take you 3 weeks to watch 4 replays that you didn't get a chance to watch, right? So it's not that, and that's not to discredit any of the other panelists, but of course, we're talking about different things, all relevant to marketing and standing out in a noisy market, but it's all different, and it has to be, like I said, relevant to your business. And as we already spoke, the hot topic was ChatGPT, but I actually, and I'm sure a lot of people are doing this, I think I've been using ChatGPT all wrong.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So as we know ChatGPT for, it's all about, type in some things, ask it what to do, it spits out some information. Sure,
Magic.
maybe magic. Sure, maybe you have to like throw in a different word or a different sentence because it's not exactly to your liking, but then that's it. We copy, we paste, we publish, right? But there's so much more to Chat GPT if you just include uh, modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally watched like a 30-minute presentation on how you can modify everything to sound the way that you want it to sound. You can literally train this AI
Mm-hmm.
to sound like you, talk like you, think like you, speak.
Billy Jean just the other day texted me from his team, to where they had ChatGPT write him a script. Then they had another AI voice the script in his voice. And it wasn't perfect,
Yeah.
but it was pretty darn good.
Like it was good
And
enough where you wouldn't recognize the difference?
I mean, it was a little. There was parts that were like a little shaky because of his inflection wasn't the same.
Okay.
But I mean, literally, we're at the beginning here. Like this is the beginning before the hockey stick of attention to this. Because what traditionally happens in history, once we pay attention to something in tech, it goes exponential every
Yeah.
single time. So with this has the potential to dwarf even the value of the internet, in my opinion. It could go that far just because of the foundational technology that's here. So it's it's now got attention because of ChatGPT. It had a little bit of attention, mind you, from Da Vinci, and what's the other one? Remind me.
Like
The
a
image-based ones.
oh, like the Adobe products like Photoshop and Illustrator?
No, the AI for imagery, guys. If you can
Oh,
remember
for
out there,
imagery.
Mid Journey,
Oh,
Mid Journey,
Mid-Journey. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
Mid Journey. And let me know, guys. Are you guys using Midjourney? Are you using DaVinci? Are you using ChatGPT? Are you using a derivative? There's other competitors out now. Microsoft is in the game. Google's in the game. I think actually Microsoft bought ChatGPT, right?
Oh,
Um, so they've got huge funding now for whoever bought them. So things are going to, like I said, get aggressive really, really fast now that all the attention's there. So it already had a little bit of attention with the imagery. Now it got big attention with ChatGPT, and it's just going to get wily from this point on, right?
oh yeah.
So, and yeah, sorry for the background noise, if there is any there. But can you hear background noise on my side?
Just a
Is it
little.
aggressive?
Just a little.
Is it aggressive?
No.
All right, then deal with
No.
it. So anyway, it's going to get really, really aggressive here very quickly because of the nature of the attention on it now, right? So I'm really interested to hear from your perspective because when I was at Social Media Marketing World, they released ChatGPT 4 while we were at the event. And Sean
Oh,
Bossler, who actually is one of the big names for Jarvis, he's one of
okay.
like the big, he's the face of Jarvis essentially.
Yeah.
He stayed up all the way through the night prompting ChatGPT 4, the newest edition of it. And so he came in the next day and he was like, "Oh my God, my mind is blown. I've had 12 cups of coffee." And he worked straight through the night prompting it and just trying stuff.
Oh,
And so now
I
you
would be
can,
like this. I'd be like
he
losing
was,
my mind.
he absolutely was. Shout out to Sean Bossler out there. He's an awesome guy. But I guess you can do imagery now. You can like feed it images and still get out text.
You could feed it a funnel.
Yeah, you
Did
can
you hear
feed it a
about this?
funnel. I have heard that. Yes, I have not tried it yet, but I have heard it.
Well, I
So
haven't
it,
tried
I
it
would,
because there's so many things that you can still do with like the free version,
yeah.
right? Um, I really haven't found and it obviously is not a money thing because it's only $20, but um, I haven't found the real need to have to upgrade,
Mhm.
right? Because when you go and click that upgrade to plus, it's really just like, oh, the feature that you get is that we're still going to be here for you when the platform's flooded, and it's like, okay, big deal. I can just wait a day. I can wait a few hours, right? It like as much as ChatGPT 4 is doing incredible things, I personally don't think that I necessarily need that for my business. So it hasn't really given me that edge to want to be like, I need to buy this now, right?
Okay.
There's so many things that uh, GPT-3 has that, I'm sure four obviously has a lot more features, but for what I do, 3 still works out. And fun fact, I actually also found out during Adworld that GPT-3 is only updated up until 2019, I believe. So it cannot give you relevant information past 2019 or 2020.
Interesting. So if you're doing like current events,
Yeah,
it'd be like, huh?
kind of. kind
Well,
of.
maybe ChatGPT 4 is a little more up to date. I don't know. That'd be interesting to
That's
check out. Now that
that's
you mention it.
probably what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But it's incredible. Like now schools are having to like make sure that kids are not using it. But like how do you check for that? You can't.
I think I gave you an
So
answer for that about a month ago.
what's that?
About what you were talking to. I gave you an example about a month ago. You don't
Oh
remember
yeah.
it?
Yeah, you're talking about kids cheating on tests and stuff?
Yeah, but do you remember the answer that I gave you for that?
I don't. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. So, um, my one of my good friends, he's the head of the science department at his school. He's a high school teacher, and I asked him that exact question. I said, "Well, look, how are you going to moderate this? How are you guys going to figure out, what's like a good paper and whatnot? Like, how are you going to know who's actually doing the homework?" And he's a guy that's a little rough around the edges, and I will quote him. I will quote his exact words. I wouldn't agree with the words that he uses, but his exact words were, "Listen, Lefty, if I have a student in my class who's a complete dummy and he turns in an A plus plus paper, I'm gonna know he didn't write that if he's been giving me D grade or C grade work the entire year." And he
Now
goes,
here's the interesting question. Can
mm,
you get back a result and then say, make this a D paper?
"Oh, that's good." That's
It
good.
gets interesting, right?
Like, kind of just turn around and say, "Dumb this down to
Like
like."
if you were to grade yourself, Lori says on ChatGPT right now. Awesome. It's absolutely fantastic. September 2021 is where it stops, but you can get a Google extension that will grab live Google data. Okay, cool. If you could drop the link to that extension, that'd be really cool for everybody to check
Awesome.
out. I know I'll definitely check it out for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Rick. And thank you guys for watching. My mom, Cindy, Lori, and Rick, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really
Oh, my
appreciate it.
mom's my biggest fan. She literally texts me like every day, "I loved your new YouTube video." And I'm like, "Oh, you're the one comment that
Well,
comes
what's
through."
funny is that in half of your videos, you're talking to your mom on the phone.
Oh, I know.
Mom. Yeah, it's
Mom.
awesome. If you guys
But
haven't checked out his YouTube channel, please do. Lefty, if after the show you want to link to it, feel more than able to do that. And I'm
absolutely.
sure you can find it on createwithlefterris.com as well.
Yes, you can.
But
You most definitely can.
so let's get into it. What were the takeaways from this year's event?
All right. So Seth Godin really, and I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, but um, that guy's an OG. Let's be realistic. And one thing that he said to me, and I don't know if this is like this can really go for anybody, but I feel like he was kind of addressing the beginners. He said that do not like use Chat GPT as a tool, but if you are planning on creating a business around Chat GPT, don't quit your day job, because he said the true creators will obliterate you.
Oh yeah, I
So
fully embrace that. Fully
yeah,
agree with that.
so use it as a tool. Make sure you can use it to its full potential. Get everything that you can out of it to help your process go smoother and quicker. But if you're going to be one of those guys that are like, or girls that are like, "I'm going to create a whole copywriting agency based around Chat GPT," you're dead in the water before you even start.
Yeah.
So that's the one of the biggest takeaways. The creating modifiers was another one. So one thing that was really really cool, and I have it down here, and I keep looking down because I'm referring to my notes. Um,
For those of you
but
guys that are just joining us, Lefty's going over his takeaways from the Adworld event, which is a huge, huge virtual event in the marketing space. So he's talking about the takeaways that he was able to glean from that he hopes that you guys can use for your business.
yeah, And so one thing that I caught on was, um, give me idea. So like before I get into that, everybody wants, either like hooks for short form content or long form or whatever. So
Sure.
it was really, really cool to say, give me ideas for, in brackets, detailed or target audience, right? And
Mhm.
then you can get more specific once it spits that out, and you can say something along the lines of, write me 5 variations of this, and then it'll further take you down the rabbit hole. um,
Yeah, I think it's super downplayed the research capabilities that it can do.
and I think that's where people are, like, a lot of people are missing it, is the fact that, like, you got to understand, it's a computer. It's there to give you a technical answer. There's no emotional intelligence behind it. There's literally like next to nothing when it comes to like relatability factor, or giving, um sharing an experience that you had. So it's literally there to give you the most robotic technical answer it can possibly give you. So if you're not, if you're just using it at surface level, like, you're already doing an injustice. And not to say that I was using it at surface level, but I was, like, learning everything here. And it was literally, if I can give like 4 points right now, it's set the scene. So ask it what you really want it to do. Share some knowledge. So tell it a little bit about your brand after you ask for what you want it to do. Focus on the details of what you want it to do. So objectives, or maybe ask it like, add a little bit of flair or magic, or whatever, however your jargon is. And then prompt it for refinement. Like, don't just take what it gives you and then just, like I said, copy and paste it. Really, really get down to the nitty gritty, um and just, yeah, give it everything you got. Like, ask it to spit out like objections that your prospects might have, if you've given it enough information about your brand, because you can very well ask it, um, give me 5 hooks around, my coaching business, or my video marketing agency, or my how to run Facebook ads, to other online experts. My business caters around these types of people that do this type of service, and just fill it with as much information for it to give you the most concise answer. And once you start going down that rabbit hole, you will see like the incredible results. I'm getting even like better results with just like these little like fine-tuned things that we don't.
Exactly. The multi-prompt has helped me out tremendously to where like you do a prompt and you get an answer. And what I like to do too is the question at the end. You say, hey, if there's any other information needed to better serve this, then ask me a question and I'll answer it. Something
Yeah.
along those lines. Essentially, like, hey, if you don't understand exactly what I'm wanting and you're just going to try and make it up, ask me some questions to refine your result that you get back to me. Oh, Rick, thank you so much for giving that ChatGPT Chrome extension. I really appreciate that, man.
Mhm.
Um, but then it'll ask you a question and it'll be like, hey, what did you mean by this? And then I'll answer it, and then it'll give another answer and it'll ask another question. And
Yeah.
then it keeps getting better and better and better and better.
And
And
yeah,
then I'll
absolutely.
even take it out of that and then I'll add some flair to it, from my own personality or from a client's personality that makes it their own or my own. But it takes that kind of like mining. You're
Mhm.
mining down until you get to something good. But it's not just ask a question, spit it out, and you have gold. It's just not the way it is. But it allows you to not start with a blank page.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I want to say, that one thing that like kind of like touched me the most, um, and another one from Seth Godin. He, he honestly he couldn't have said it better, and I was just like, oh, this is so good. This is what I want to teach people, and I want to keep reiterating this message. But he said, humans are not a resource. We are the point.
Mm.
So
Seth Godin, he is really, really a great speaker
so
as
you
well.
cannot turn us you cannot turn us into these dummy, no brain, just do task resource. We are not a resource. We are the picture. We are the picture that's painted. We are the point of everything, you know? So don't
Hmm.
lose that touch. Do not lose that touch of yours. If you've never written copy before in your life, if you've never written a script before in your life, it's okay to ask ChatGPT to do something for you, but at least give it your all to do your very best to refine those scripts on your own, to make them better, to be more you. Because let's face it, I want to let's say our entire existence for the last 150 years, or at least 100 years, let's say we just reverted. Forget 150 years. Let's say 50 years. Let's say we reround the clock 50 years from now, and we know everything that we know now, except we're living in 1973, and all you did was rely on Chat GPT to get your business off the ground. What the hell are you going to do now? Because remember, the internet as a whole is really just a resource. So if the resource becomes scarce, or it just somebody decides to hit the off switch one day, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you built your entire script writing, your email marketing, your SMS, like everything that you can think of that ChatGPT can do for you, or any AI tool can do for you? What would happen if it all just disappeared? Because I feel like we take the internet, social media, any online resource. I feel like we take it for granted, and we're really not gonna. It's not gonna hit us until it's gone.
Yeah,
So, what would you be able to turn around and say to yourself that you can still provide if it all shut down?
I like that. I like that. Lori says, Angie, I assume it's Angie Norris and yourself, we're just talking about The Purple Cow, which is one of Seth Godin's books.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
it's a great book, by the way. I only read it once, but reminding me I need to read it again because I remember it was a very, very good book.
Oh, I was ready
And
to just empty my bank account with Amazon.
oh my God, Rick, that picture's intense, my friend. That
Oh
is
yeah.
awesome. He says, I love discussing ideas with ChatGPT. It'll tell me things I never thought about. I then started debating ChatGPT. I think I spent about an hour with it. It's so patient. What's funny is I'm watching Silicon Valley right now. Like my friends have
Mm.
been after me forever to finally watch this show, and I just like binge the crap out of it over like 2 hour segments each night. And they talk about AI really heavily in that show, and I adore that show. That people, my friends were right. I love that show. Uh, but they talk about AI and like the downsides that could be happening with AI, especially tapped into. What's interesting is they talked about a completely decentralized internet. So tapping into a decentralized internet with AI would let it completely run rampant, which because there's no one that could stop it. There's no one that controls it. So I thought that was such an interesting thought that I never ever considered, was that if you unleash AI in a decentralized format where it doesn't have any oversight, what does it do?
That's wild.
Isn't
That's
it? And the show
wild.
covered that. You know, obviously it's a hilarious show, but just the concept was like, oh wow, that's intense. And
What
DJ,
streaming platform is it on?
I want to say Amazon Prime, but I'm not positive on that. But yeah, it's called Silicon Valley. It's absolutely incredible.
Okay.
And it's about this startup, a
Yeah.
tech startup that comes out, and just the trials and tribulations of being a tech startup in Silicon Valley, where, you know, it's cutthroat. You know,
Mm.
everyone will steal your idea. They'll make you work for your own company.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll just take it over and then sell it out from underneath you. It's like, it's vicious.
Like my mom.
DJ,
I love you, mom.
DJ's right. DJ says it's a great brainstorming tool. Absolutely, absolutely. And Rick was saying, about how he comes up with ideas that he wouldn't have before, different angles. You know what you want to say, but maybe if you approached it from this different angle, it could be more engaging, or maybe it's a better frame.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then Rick says, what do you guys think of Elon Musk wanting to stop AI innovation for 6 months? To
I
be
think
perfectly honest, Rick, I don't think it matters now. To be honest with you, I think that now it's really gotten off to like a running start now. It's been going for a while, but now it's getting aggressive. I think regardless of what Elon does or anyone, if they were to stop it for 6 months, no one's stopping. No
yeah.
one's actually stopping. I
I
don't
think
think this is a train you can stop anymore.
yeah. No, I think Elon's concern is exactly what you were just mentioning about, like, what happens when it teaches itself to the point where it no longer requires like any human coder, right? Um, I think
It's
I think
such
what
a bizarre thought,
yeah, I
isn't
know,
it?
I know,
Such a crazed thought.
but I
But
think I think what he is saying, like, you're right, it can't be stopped, but I do feel like his whole premise behind wanting to stop it is, you know, it's the
he's
fact that he understands that humans are emotional and we make
completely.
we make decisions based on emotion. So
Yeah.
who's to say somebody running AI right now and goes into work completely pissed off and aggressive doesn't do something stupid to harm us all, right? And I think because it's not monitored the way it's supposed to be, and
Mhm.
people are just doing as they please with it. I think Elon's saying, like, yo, we should really take a seat back and understand what we're about to do, or at least understand the repercussions of what we're about to do before we just jump in full throttle.
And I
So
agree with that. I
I
do.
don't
I fully agree with it. But I think that if you did shut it down, what you'd find is that the 6 month mark, when everyone turns back on their stuff, there's going to be all these guys that were squirreled away working on it in the dark, and they're going to be coming out with insane difference. The innovation is still going to be there, but it's going to be even more jarring. Is that
yeah.
we're not going to see the process to get there. It's just going to smack you, just like ChatGPT did when you first opened it. And you're like, are you serious? This is amazing. Like, this is what the internet should have been.
Until Google just releases their AI, and then that's it. I think, on in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think when Google releases the Google AI, uh, I think ChatGPT should be very scared.
But I mean, don't you think it? Because again, watch Silicon Valley, because they talk about a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it's exaggerated, obviously. But
Of
there's
course, you have
some
to
truth.
fabricate
There's
television.
some truth in there too about how just vicious it is. So it's like, was Google already developing it? I know Google
Well,
has played with AI quite a bit, but have they gone down this road that much? Is it
well,
just a matter of opening up ChatGPT's code and just making it different enough to where Google can put a big G on it? Like, I'm curious to know if Google is ready for it, or if now they're playing catch up.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Remember that segment. I think it happened in 2017 or 2018 when Google first teased AI
Yeah.
making a virtual call to an actual hair salon, booking an appointment. I think what Google did was tease that to its competitors to light fire under their asses, the same way Elon Musk teased the Cybertruck and we still don't have it. I think what
Which is
Google
amazing, by the way.
I think what Google and Elon did was give them
Yeah.
something that doesn't even exist yet and then sit back and go, "All right, guys, I want to see all your screw ups and when I know that you've completely crapped the bed, that's what I'm going to give you my monster."
Fair. That's very fair.
Because the
I
Ford
want a
Lightning
Cybertruck.
the Ford Lightning has problems. All other SUV, the Hummer EV has its own complications. You think Elon's just sitting there, and you think he didn't release on purpose? He did it. It's on purpose. It was a move to light the fire under his competitors' asses to watch all their mistakes. And I
I
think
mean,
Google's doing the
yeah.
same exact thing. I think they knew ChatGPT was coming, and they did it for a reason.
That's Steve McLaren there said he wants a Cybertruck. You
I'm
got your
waiting in
deposit in,
line,
man?
bro. I'm
You got
waiting in line.
do you have your deposit in?
I do. I do. I think I'm like one of like the first like
How much
200
was a deposit on that beast?
$100, baby.
That's it?
Yeah, $100 to
Impressive.
wait in
Impressive.
line.
Rick
And
says yes, beta access to Google Bard. It's very similar to ChatGPT. Oh,
oh,
cool.
okay,
So yeah,
cool.
they're there. And he said that they've been playing with AI for many years, just like you had said. So
Yeah,
I mean, they're ready to rip,
it'd be
apparently.
crazy if Google wasn't. Like it would be.
Well, the thing is they have the best of the best.
Yeah,
And so does Microsoft, mind you. But Microsoft just outright bought ChatGPT, right? If you don't want to build up to it, acquire it. so,
yeah,
so
exactly.
they just ate it up.
It's exactly just like my recent YouTube video. It's exactly what Vince McMahon did in the 90s. Oh, WCW, you want to come at me? I'm just gonna buy you. ECW, I'm
Yeah,
gonna buy you.
exactly.
TNA, I'm gonna buy you. Like he just he just bought all his competition. And that's exactly what we're here to do when it comes to content creation is like tell amazing stories. And I truly, truly think that if you guys are gonna listen to any storyteller, like Vince McMahon should be one of your top 10 in terms of how you can tell stories in your business and in your content because
Remember, there was a whole generation to where you had to argue with someone that it wasn't real.
I almost cried when I found out it
There
wasn't.
was a whole generation that was like, no way, defend it, defend it, defend it. And I remember when I found out it wasn't real, I was like, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but I don't want to believe
Yeah.
it.
Look, I mean, you can't discredit the fact that they don't
But
get
they told
injured, they don't get
amazing
hurt,
stories. They told great stories.
and
They
that's
were
what it is.
absurd and over the top and just horrendous, but they were so entertaining.
I never understood like how many lozenges do those guys go through every week to get on the microphone and be like, Jim, I'm taking you down next week. Like, bro,
Well,
I would
back
have
in
the
the 80s
worst
and
throat.
90s, there wasn't throat lozenges. It was just cocaine. It was just cocaine.
Cocaine.
It was just
Dude,
cocaine.
my throat would be killing me. I wouldn't even be able to speak the following week if I had to
Oh, look
speak
at
to you
this.
like that.
Microsoft bought into OpenAI for the 10 big B's billion.
Wow.
That is
Very
quite the
interesting.
investment. And they're not the only one.
No,
There are so many companies right now making big B investments all across AI.
watch. I'll
It
bet
is aggressive.
I'll bet I'll bet any money Microsoft buys OpenAI, blocks your LinkedIn account from using AI to send out messages.
Well, it's going to be funny, right? Because like it's funny you mention that because there's going to be AI to fight AI,
Yeah.
and then there's going to be like police scanners, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
remember when police scanners came out, and
Yeah.
then they had the radar detector that could say whether or not a police scanner or detector was out there, and then the police found a radar detector to
Yes,
detect if
yes,
they were detecting the radar.
yeah.
And so it's like, how deep does that go?
Yeah,
Well,
it's gonna
my
be
AI
crazy.
blocks your AI. Well, my AI undoes your block of my AI.
It's gonna be crazy. Like it's honestly gonna be like it's the freaking wild west, man. Like we're living in like cowboys and Indians times. Like we're just like, oh man, things are gonna get like pretty outrageous pretty quickly. And
I'll put up this again for Rick here one more time. He said my favorite site to find new AI tools, futuretools.io. Check it out,
that's
guys.
amazing.
And I guarantee you'll be like, what? When you look at the list, because I looked at it not even a week ago, and there was some stuff on there that was like, is that possible? And not even, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, no one was even talking about it, and
I know.
it was being worked on, but it was not as public as it is now. And it's amazing that now that attention's on there, it's just exponential growth. So back into it. Let's close it out a little bit. What are some of the other big takeaways you got from Adworld? Was there anything aside from ChatGPT that blew your mind?
Let me see what I have here. I wrote a lot. I did write a lot.
Oh, shout
So,
out to Steve McLaren. He said that he uses AI to upscale his videos. I assume you're speaking of Topaz. I
oh,
use Topaz as well.
so here's something I think I touched base on in and around October, November, and it's coming to life, my friend. Programmatic ads based on
Hmm.
the highest bidder. And I spoke about
Programmatic
this.
ads?
Just like a television commercial, it's coming to social media. I spoke about it. I spoke about it in October. I think it was October or early November when I said, guys, the ads game is going to change.
Yeah,
Where
it has to. It has to.
where if Jim, you and I both do VSLs, but if you and I are fighting for a certain time slot and you outbid me by even $1,
Yeah.
you're going to get the prime time slot and I might get pushed over into the infomercials. So it's slowly going to start happening in the social media world. And to be completely honest with you, I mean, it sucks. It sucks for the smaller creators because
Mhm.
I mean, if you do have a
I mean,
video,
it's been a money game for a long time.
there it is.
Now it's just like really aggressively a money game. It's a live auction.
But that's yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
but I mean, it's like it's really going to be a tough time for a lot of creators. So the one thing that I will say is don't be don't be the guy or girl where I have to turn around 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now and literally say I told you so. If you have not jumped into paid ads before, or if you think you want to like revive something, do it now while you still can,
Mhm.
because you're not going to have those daily budgets anymore. You're not going to you're probably going to even see those lifetime budgets either diminish or become less more affordable, because it will go down to who has the highest bid for the highest for the
What's
best time
interesting
slot.
about that is if they still allow for Facebook to optimize you on its own, think of what that means now. Is it's the Walmart effect, right?
Okay, yeah.
Essentially, instead of coming in cheap and then jacking up your prices when everyone else is dead, that's the Walmart method. Um, Instead, they come in hot and they just jack up the price until no one else can pay anymore because they're broke. And now they come in super cheap.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I could say, like I'll be honest with you, because my grandfather did media buying for radio and television, right? Like for those of you that don't know my story, my family is a family of entrepreneurs. We dominated radio and television broadcasting for 40 plus years. And that was the one thing that was like super awesome that really helped my family scale, is that every purchase, no matter the price tag, was a paid in full. And I mean, that's really the only that's really the only benefit to Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or any other social media platform, is like, oh, you want us to run your ad at 1 p.m. every day for 3 days a week for the next month? It's $15,000. Oh no, but it's not a payment plan. You need to give me $15,000 right now,
Yeah.
right? And
there's a chance it might not work.
And there's a chance that it might not work because I can come in with $20,000 and just completely eat your slot.
Bury me. Yeah.
Does that mean that you're not going to get your ad slot? No, you absolutely will get your ad slot.
Just not as good of one.
We're not going to push it when The Simpsons runs. We're going to push it when the Slap Chop is out at 1 o'clock in the morning and everyone's in bed and nobody's on social media. So that's the scary thing that's about to happen. So you guys gotta, I would say, if you're looking to scale any sort of business right now, no matter what size budget you have, jump on it, do it. And I could be very wrong. The one thing I don't know is when it's going to be ruled out, but this is the second time I'm hearing about this, not the first, the second time, which means that it is happening or it's going to happen.
Craziness.
What
else, man? What else is going on at Adworld?
Adworld, you know what? Like, that was really it. That's really all I caught. Like, there was like 15 panelists, like all talking about, Chat GPT. Like, it was honest to God, like the biggest thing. If I had to say anything else, it was put people before products. And meet your audience in the moment. Don't meet them after. Don't meet them before. Meet them when they're ready.
Meet them where they are. Yeah.
Meet them where they are. Lead with community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your audience, not at your audience.
So true.
That was another good one. Another great one here is, people don't buy your why, they buy their why.
I like that. Another one that Layla Hermosi brought up recently is you got to make your vision big enough for others to have their vision fit within.
Yep. Oh, and one more, if I could remember it. Where was it? I know I wrote it down. Me and my...
Oh, Rick has got a question for you, my friend. How do you feel about influencers versus paid ads? So influencer marketing versus straight paid ads.
I am all for the influencer game. But because everybody can literally talk crap nowadays, and you don't, it's very especially when it comes to certain influencers, and you don't really know who you can trust and who's actually going to get the job done.
True. That's true.
I would put them on a 30-day trial. I would be like,
good advice. Right. Short-term ad run. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, they want X amount of dollars to push out your name or push out your service, for you to be like the preferred vendor or whatever the case might be. So in that case, I would just be like, all right, what do you think you can make me in a month? Well, I think I can make you, let's say, 30K.
No, right, cool. And you're never going to get that answer. You're never going to get that answer ever.
And ever. My answer, and to be honest with you, what I would turn around and say is, cool, get me that, and then I'll give you, and then I'll gladly reward you with whatever you want afterwards, because you and I will have a very, very, very long-term relationship if you actually say what it is. And I'd be even willing, and of course I use 30K as an example, but I would even be okay if Buddy brought me half.
Sure.
Because at least I know that they put in the work and the effort and the time.
What's interesting about that, and I've talked to numerous people, and I've actually experienced this myself working with influencer marketers, is that even the very best don't kill it every time.
No, of course not.
they'll have a dud month.
Yeah.
And instead of bagging it and being like, oh, the well's dry, like the very next month we were back on.
You know
Everything's,
what? I mean,
but
and
they had like a mild month, then they had a killer,
mhm.
then they had a killer, and then they had another one that wasn't like, it wasn't great, but it was like somewhere in between bad and medium, and then they had a dud month.
Yeah.
So to the eye, it would look like, oh, that graph went down and bottomed out. They're
Yeah.
done. They're done. They're tapped. And
I would.
so
Yeah.
we happened to run it for one extra month, and it killed again.
You know
So
what?
it
It's
has cycles.
what was that?
It has cycles.
No, absolutely, and nobody is gonna nobody is gonna like be perfect all the time, and
Yeah.
especially with influencers too, right? Like their crowd might not be your crowd, right?
Hmm.
So that's obviously a big factor too. Honestly, Jim, I would probably hire two VAs per platform before going to an influencer.
Interesting.
Just because I would hire two VAs for Instagram, I would hire two VAs for Facebook, I would hire two VAs for LinkedIn, I would hire two VAs for TikTok, I would hire two VAs to even just do like my engagement and all that
You
jazz for
have them just
YouTube.
pounding the pavement all the time.
Just have them pound the pavement because I guarantee you, I will probably get 50 plus booked calls a month, especially if I have 8 VAs, right? Or
Interesting
10
thought on it.
VAs and then at least I know that my calendar will be filled. And I mean, I sure as hell know that I cannot serve. I could probably serve 50 people in a year. I can't serve 50 people in a month.
Sure.
So if I'm only closing 5 to 10% of those 50 booked calls, let's say, I mean, that's more than enough that I need. I'm a happy camper. My VAs are a happy camper, at least the ones that actually have their names tied to those 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, that's what it is.
So go ahead.
I was just gonna say quickly because I know we have to wrap up. Like, I just think that like there's a lot of people that are they hear these numbers like, oh, buddy made 10K in a week, I made 72,000 this month, I
Sure.
did this, I did that. And I think there's a lot of people that are playing the get rich quick scheme right now in terms of like certain VAs and certain help and assistance that you can get, that I really put everybody on performance based because you're either going to talk the talk and you're going to just absolutely smash it, and
Hmm.
you're probably going to feel a lot better for yourself doing performance based, or I'm going to be out money because you want me to pay you per month, and I'm going to have nothing. I'm going to hear crickets.
Yeah. Speaking to that same question, how do you feel about influencers versus paid ads? Paid ads work
At
flat out.
100% of the time.
Like I can make them work. Period. I know it now. It's a learning curve, mind you. It takes a minute, but they work. And you just have to make sure you cover your ad spend. So,
Yep.
meaning you have a break even funnel of some sort, you have some way to sell something initially up front. We have a Molly in the house.
What?
And
What?
so the gist of it is got totally derailed. It's
You
awesome
know,
having Molly on.
there's a lot of homework that goes into paid ads. If you think like
Oh, that's it. Okay. So
what?
that to finish that out, just to close that part of it out, is that uh, you want to seek influencers that influencers seek out. The influencer of the influencers. So, as
Yes.
an example, you want to seek out an influencer that serves agencies and has a lot of agencies there underneath. So therefore, they're going to need your thing, and then their network's going to need their thing, and then their network's going to need their thing. There's a lot of opportunity there for exponential growth. If you go with one single influencer with their own audience, you're very narrowed in. So I would increase your chances by going with the influencers who have influencers that seek them out.
Which is
I know
another
that's a
thing
little
that I
bit of
learned at AdWorld.
what's that?
The other thing I learned at AdWorld is it's not your job to promote your business; it's the people's job to promote your business.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And then
Your
Rick
job is just to
also,
create.
right, that's fair. How should the influencer market you? Rick, to answer that question, I would say that would be very dependent on what is your product or service. But generally speaking, you want them to give you a cosign. What do I mean by that? You don't just show up and then do the ShamWow guy. We can't do this all day, camera guy. Like you don't want to just like bust into someone's group and do that stuff or that slap chop and all that stuff, right? Like you want them to introduce you, and then you guys maybe do like a co thing together, and then maybe you do a solo thing that is maybe started by them and then is left off with you. But essentially, it's them supporting you, and then like imagine like you're teaching someone to ride a bike. Your hands on the back of the seat for a while, and then you kind of let go, and then they're cruising, right? So you can't just throw them throw them on the bike and then kick it and be like, "Good luck." It's not going to go great. I
I
mean, will
think
it work once in 1,000 times? Maybe, but I don't want to go with the exception rather than.
you know what, if I may, I think you should look at like your influencer or your VA or whoever you should hire. Think of them as your call to action. It like you tell them what you want them to do and where you want them to lead the people. So, do you want them to lead people to book a call with you, to learn more information, to come into your Facebook group or follow your Instagram page or subscribe to your YouTube channel? Like that's essentially what they're there for. It's you're telling them where you want them to lead the people. So, yeah,
The other thing about VAs though is that you have to make it a job.
correct.
In addition to whatever else you're doing, you've now added on a whole other job that could be a 9 to 5 by itself. Another 40 hours onto your schedule is making sure that that VA feels supported and empowered to do the very thing that you need them to do. Because if you expect to hire VA and then magic, you are in for a rough surprise.
No.
It does not work that way. And if it does work that way, it may work that way on one project that's isolated in a bubble or a vacuum. Anything outside of that, and all of a sudden you're going to start seeing that the training wheels come off and the shit gets a little bit wily.
Yeah. Well, guys, I have to go because it's going to get pretty crazy here. Jim, it was a pleasure. Molly, it's great to see your face. And
enjoy WrestleMania.
Oh, I will. Day one tomorrow. Woo!
Oh yeah, brother.
Let's go. Let's go. I can't wait. Maybe I'll do like a follow-up video to the video that I just did. So if you guys haven't watched that yet, go to the channel.
It's really good.
Lefty.
It's
Great
really
with Lefty. There's a funny skit at the beginning of it, so I don't get right into it. But yeah, you'll enjoy it. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Bye.
Well, welcome, Miss Molly.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I'm just stopping in for a couple minutes. I didn't know you guys were going to still be live. But
It's all good.
Heck
We
yeah.
appreciate you joining us today. We have been talking about obviously Lefty's endeavors at Adworld.
Yeah.
And one of the big takeaways obviously was ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about repercussions thereof.
Yup.
Essentially every event you go to for the next foreseeable future is going to have an overwhelming abundance on the scale of ChatGPT and AI and all these kind of conversations about how you can monetize, how can you use this amazing magic box to produce spun web of gold. It's going to be everywhere. So he said that obviously AdWorld was not any different. Yep. Social media marketing world, no different. And it's the topic of the hour.
I will put money on it that Funnel Hacking Live will also be very much in the AI world.
If you've ever wanted to speak on Funnel Hacking Live stage, get that ChatGPT course of yours to 1 million quick. because they will throw you on that stage to get
Heck
someone
yeah.
to talk about that topic.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
how about we wrap up tonight and
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us. It's you spending with your time with us. What is happening with this region, Jim? So thank you so much for spending your time with us. It's the only resource you don't get back, and we appreciate that you spent it here with us. We will see you again on next Friday for another Friday Night Live, where we'll have the whole crew together and getting back into our usual scheduled program, talking about all things getting attention to your mission, your message, and your movement in an ever-changing and ever-noisy marketplace. Thank you. We appreciate you. Molly.
That's all. That's all. Jim's amazing. He ran the show tonight. Heck yeah. I appreciate you, Jim. I love you all. See you next time. Be excellent to each other.
Damn.